Good morning, JBLM. Welcome to our February Garrison Community Update. Couple admin announcements. Thank you to the Red Cross for providing coffee. Much appreciated. Also, don't forget over here to my right, we have a lot of our service providers. Please visit their tables on your way out. They have a lot of good information for you. There's also a sign-in roster going around, so please make sure you put your updates on the roster. And with that, I will turn it over to Colonel Duncan for remarks.
All right, good morning. Welcome to 2020, because we've only had one update since the beginning of the new year, so thank you and welcome again. Please continue to fill out. Do we have the comment cards on the tables this morning? Where's Alicia? Not on. Okay. We've been using those comment cards for the past few months, and those have been going very well. We appreciate your feedback for anything you want to see less of, more of, new topics, new ideas in these updates, or really anything across the entire base. So in the meantime, if we don't have the physical cards for you today, then write it down on your nameplate there or a piece of paper, and please just leave it there. Anonymous, named, I don't care. We want your ideas of how to get you the right information and how to improve things on base. And several good ideas have already come from that, and we've already implemented several of them. As a reminder, one of those good ideas that came from that is the fact that we have the SFRGs that set up and sell food over at Nelson Rec. Can't do it in this physical location, but if there's SFRGs that want to sell sort of wares and crafts and stuff, they can do that here as well. So please continue to put that information out to your SFRGs. General George, one of his primary, he greatly appreciates the SFRGs and wants them to focus appropriately on being able to support service members when the service member, being able to support the families when the service member is deployed. So SFRGs and First Shirts and their coordination groups, please continue to support the service members as they deploy. And one way you can do that, I know, is they need fundraising in order to sort of be able to do those activities. So I offer that back out to you. Tax season is coming up. If anybody needs assistance with tax season, we've got a little bit of information here. We've always got tons of information on the websites. Remember, MILTAX, MILTAX, is kind of the website to go to that offers most free and or mostly free taxes for military personnel. Remember that voting season is coming up. Each brigade has a voting officer assigned to it, and the Air Force has the same at the wing. So use those people to make sure you are registered in your state. Get ready for the voting season coming up. Tom had asked you to brief a little bit more on the 9-gate plan. We told you a couple months ago and also last month about we were going to exercise the 9-gate plan, so going down from our current 14 open gates down to 9 as an exercise. So in case we ever need to increase what's called our FPCon level, our force protection level, or if outside the gate contingencies force us to slim down the number of gates that we have open down from 14, a 9 is sort of our immediate go-to level. We'll go from 14 to 9 immediately. So we need to exercise that once in a while to ensure that we know traffic flow problems and speed and throughput and all that kind of stuff. 55,000 vehicles a day come onto and off of JBLM, so we have to prepare for that. We had that slated for February. We are going to push that because of some delays on the I-5 corridor. They had to delay some of their construction due to weather. Shocking, I know. It's not like we've received any rain in the past month. So we are going to delay ours so that we don't have just two messes going on at the same time, right? Because we know the 9-gate plan will cause a little bit of delays. That is part of we know that's going to happen, but we have to be prepared for if we have to slim down to those 9 gates. So we have to exercise that. So we will do that towards the end of March, and the PMO can give you a little bit more updates on how that will work. Once we have the actual date, we will put that out. I know the coronavirus is a hot topic, of course, in the world right now, appropriately so. I will give you very generally what we know right now, and then there's some more detailed information coming up in the slide deck as well. There are currently 3 sites on the West Coast that will receive repatriates from China, specifically from the Wuhan province, but other areas in China as they come back, either Department of State flights or commercial flights as the people come back. 3 sites on the West Coast, 1 in the Midwest, are officially designated as receive sites for those people, and they will be essentially quarantined and monitored for 14 days is the timeline. And then if they show no symptoms, then they're sent off on their way. Right now, JBLM is not one of those sites, just so you know. But there is potential that there will be another site chosen. There's 4 or 5 sites that are sort of thrown out around and planning going on. There might be one more in the Northwest area. Most likely not us, but just so you know that there's always discussion and planning ongoing right now. There are, let me get the numbers, make sure I got the numbers right here. 24,562 cases worldwide right now, and there have been 493 deaths so far because of this. So it is, the People's Republic of China is tracking most of these statistics, as most of the cases are in their country. There are some cases in the U.S., and they're of course, in the hospital and being treated properly. Okay, a whole lot more to come on that, and that's all I have for now. We don't have any awards this month, but please, if you have them, if you have any people you want to recognize in front of the entire Garrison community, please bring them up, and we'll do them next month, and I'll pass it on. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Nope, that's all right. I got one of these that works too. Morning, everybody. Any Chiefs fans out there? Any 49ers fans out there? After the coronavirus speech, I had to get a little liveliness going into the dead crowd. Hey, first off, thanks to the entire community for an amazing job you did saying farewell to Lieutenant General Valesky and welcoming in Lieutenant General George. It's been a busy couple of weeks, and it's continuing to be another busy couple of weeks. I just left Lieutenant General George. We're in the middle of day 1 of basically the Corps' training Super Bowl from the Army folks. It's called a warfighter exercise, and we do those at different echelons, at division level, Corps level. And this was day 1 of the Corps' report card exercise, and it's also day 1 of General George's first day in command. So all of you, for those of you who were at the ceremony yesterday, we had almost every 4-star general that the Army owns come in, and a lot of the 3-stars came with them. Many of them are still here. And so that's where General George is right now with some of those senior leaders. But and why I bring that up is he's very sad that he couldn't be here today. You all, this community, is at the very top of his priority list. He just left command of our 4th Infantry Division, which is at Fort Carson. And so he is well experienced in how to build an amazing community. And he's going to take what you all have built and continue to do amazing things. So he just wanted me to pass along his regrets for not being able to be here and to say thanks for all of you for what you do, and particularly for the warm welcome you've given him. So thank you.
We're also looking forward to welcoming General George to the community and having him over to see what the airlift wing does too. Hey, it's been a really incredible year for us over in the airlift wing. As I took command of the wing just a couple of weeks ago, we did a little bit of a year in review just to see how busy Team McChord has really been. We had an incredibly busy hurricane season this year, and so crews all over the world trying to make sure that we extended that helping hand to those who were in need. We know that POTUS was really busy traveling this year to include a visit, first of its kind for a sitting president to North Korea, and we moved him there to make sure that meeting went off this year. We moved the largest amount of nuclear weapons ever in our last year. And so there has been a lot going on in 2019, and I don't expect that pace to stop in 2020. And so really thankful for this community to help the airmen of Team McChord make sure that we can go out and execute those missions every single day. Especially right now, as you guys know, we've had a little bit of a significant emotional event happen with our runway recently. And so that's incredibly important and the #1 priority for us to get after. We had a couple of sinkholes develop, for anybody who hasn't heard. It caused us to shorten our runway down from 10,100 feet down to 5,500 feet. That's a huge impact to the wing. Our training is impacted, so we can't do the training that we would normally do. It has an impact on your operations also in order to deploy and redeploy. And then there's quite a few missions, including things that support like the Western Air Defense Sector and the Noble Eagle mission that protects our airspace that would normally operate out of here also that can't happen right now. And so we'll be very focused on making sure that our runway gets up and running, and that remains a priority for the installation. Thank you also for the great welcome that the community gave me as I took command a couple of weeks ago. I'm really excited to continue my tour here and continue to work with each of you, so thanks for that.
Sir, ma'am, I'm Steve Parnell, Director of Public Works. I'm going to talk very shortly about I-5, pain before the gain. As you can see here, the ACP window, 28th February to 3 March, the ACP, Madigan ACP, will be closed. So if you normally use the ACP, you're going to have to use the log center, you're going to have to use the main gate, or find another way to get to Madigan or the installation. This is somewhat of a window. Right now they're planning the end of the 28th, beginning of the 3rd of March it will be closed. But as we know, the weather has a vote in this. So this is the window that will be closed. There'll be lots of signs, detour signs. They will give you updates daily as you drive by. It'll tell you if it's going to be open tomorrow or the next day or the next day. Also, PAO, Public Affairs, will have it on the website with current updates. So before you start driving, if you're going to go in that area, you probably ought to get on the website and follow through. The good news is between the 3rd and the 16th, they're going to work and finalize the bridge itself, not the entire interchange, so that's a ways away, but you will be able to use the Berkeley Street Bridge starting on the 16th of March. So that should relieve especially the southbound coming in to go into Madigan Gate. That should help tremendously and get you off the main lines of I-5. Are there any questions? Thank you. I'll be followed by Madigan, Colonel Bunt.
All right, good morning, everybody. Wow, is this a somber group? First of all, I want to hear a round of applause for DPW and the construction crew who's putting that bridge together. Let me hear it. Because I'm not going to sit here, and good morning, sir. I'm not going to sit here as a resident of Washington State and let you get away with that. And I'm going to tell you why. Have you been to the S-curves? Okay? They were that way when I was in high school. Okay? This took place on in November of 2018. Isn't that about right? November 2018, broke ground, and they're almost finished. That is an amazing feat. I don't want to just say for the state of Washington, but probably for construction in general. That is amazing. We all should take pride in that. You spend any time on I-5, you'll know what I'm talking about, right? It's a deflector. Let's get on to some medical stuff now, because this is what you all came here for. Let's go to the next one. So we had a little chat on this and really brought the house down. Thank you, Colonel Duncan. He is my partner in crime. I bring him up, he brings him down, we balance each other out. Let's make this happen. But what I'm trying to do is make sure we're socializing some of the symptoms, some of the things that are out there, but also some of the temper the concerns out there, right? Temper the concerns out there. Because a lot of this that's going on right now is happening because these systems in the countries where this is happening do not have a very solid healthcare base. They have a very poor infrastructure for healthcare systems, and they're much more susceptible to this than anyone in developed nations or nations that pay attention a lot to healthcare requirements of their communities. Is that making sense to you all in here? Which is why it seems odd that there's so many in those locations and there's so incredibly few in ours. And that's a credit to the healthcare community. It does present in a specific way. It is originally a zoonotic, I think, issue, and now it's become a zoologic, which means it just jumped from person to person from animal, and it could maintain that way. Obviously now it's person to person, but they're handling it just like any other flu case. Let's go to the next slide, which shows you what things you could do to prevent. And this just goes for the basic flu as well, which we'll talk about in a second here, right? Make sure you're washing hands frequently. This is kind of a normal thing done anyway, but it's kind of reinforced now. A lot of that's happening. And if you're sick, please stay home. right? No use to getting everyone in the office or everyone in the school or what have you sick, right? I have small children, so they come home, and they're little petri dishes, right, of illnesses that they're bringing home. And thankfully, I've had most of them, but they themselves carry that really quickly back and forth. If they get sick, you leave them at home and give the rest of the folks a break. Make sure that you don't touch your mouth, ears, nose, eyes with fingers before you wash them. Next slide. And there's a delay. Okay, all right. So let's talk about like flu for the second, the basic flu, all right? There's 24,000 cases right now of coronavirus. There's 4.6 million cases of the flu. Just to put this in a little bit of perspective, right? 4.6 million, right? And 9 times out of 10, these cases are happening in areas where they're not very well vaccinated, which means they didn't develop the herd immunity they need in order to block the flu from spreading. So we continue to emphasize this. Please make sure the vaccination program is getting out there. Folks are being told about it. Please get your kids vaccinated, because just because everybody else in school is, does not mean one kid who doesn't get the shot doesn't get them all sick, because it's still one of those things. We're stronger together than we are apart. Get your flu shots at different locations, and then make sure we're bringing them in the clinics. Clinics all have this available to them. Should be no problem. Any questions on the flu program? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, you gotta take a sick day, talk to a registered nurse online. You can get a sick slip through this system. You can answer your questions. You can find out about urgent care locations, which, by the way, are non-referral required, right? You can just go to urgent care. Unless you're active duty, you can go to urgent care. And you don't need a referral, and it's free, right? So other than some minor co-pays for depending on your beneficiary category, this is a good system. But also talking to registered nurses, an even easier system on the front end if you really want to get some advice and get your stuff addressed right away. Okay? Let's go to the next slide. So we talked about urgent care clinics, but we didn't probably foot stomp this enough before, right? This is a tremendous benefit. I cannot tell you for a fact that this benefit will remain, right? It's very expensive, right? So if it's out there and folks don't use it, it'll probably go away. If it's out there and you need to use it, what a perfect pop-off valve, right? The complaint of having to sit in the emergency room should never occur. It should never occur, because there's several different urgent cares across the footprints in the community that can address those needs of those family members. I know, because one of my family members actually works in the urgent care community, and most of the patients they see are TRICARE, right? So it's perfectly fine to use that access point, and we highly encourage it, because you never know how long these things will be around, and they're awesome enterprise on behalf. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is Heart Health Month, right? And what folks often don't know is actually the population for the females is actually increasing in terms of heart disease. So we ask folks to, hey, man, ask this question, please. You could use the portal, which we'll talk about here in a second, but you can talk about this to your provider. If you got high blood pressure, obesity, and things like that often lead to this, but you don't necessarily need to have either one of those if you have a genetic predisposition for heart disease, right? So make sure you're getting your checks. And that's quite a big number when you're thinking about the folks that are dying of heart disease. And again, the female population is going up dramatically in this area. Next slide. We have a lot of recognitions going on, right, with our patients, and we wanted to thank you for selecting us as your provider. Highly encourage that continue that relationship, and the patient portal is part of that relationship, but there's also the face-to-face, right? And when you meet with your provider or your provider team, understand that they're trying to do everything they can within their power to address your needs, and they also need your feedback, right? Your feedback's important. There used to be a piece where a survey would come out in hard print, and you'd fill it out and drop it off. Not terribly effective, right? They have it online. Who here gets an email asking them to fill out a survey? Therein lies part of the problem, right? Who here gets an email and doesn't want to admit it that they delete it? Okay, all right, let's just be honest with that. When you don't do that, right, when you don't do that, services tend to go away. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying tomorrow, but I'm saying if Congress takes a look at it and says, well, what's the feedback on the survey for the services you provide for quality of care, and it's 10%, well, some things might potentially change in the future. Hey, who's bought a new car here recently? Okay, what's the number one thing that salesman wants? Commission? This is good. This is a great crowd. What's the number one thing the salesman wants?
Your friends, your families.
That's exactly what they want. They want their business. In order to get it, they need a survey that says, we did a great job. If you ever left a car dealership and you know what I'm talking about and you're not chased out the door, so will you fill out this card? Don't forget my commission for the time being, Master Sergeant. I want you to fill out this card and say, if I'm any less than 5 of 5 stars, tell me what I did wrong so I can improve myself. Do you think they're doing that because they just like seeing a little star on the wall? Their credit rating goes through the roof. They get repeat customers. They get all sorts of maybe additional commissions, but they get the credit of providing a quality service and get known as the best dealer in town. Same thing goes for healthcare. So let's make sure we vote, and we vote with our feet on how healthcare is doing to provide you. Next slide. All right, and so you got your MHS Genesis login, which has improved tremendously over the last 9 months. These updates to the system is in large part the benefit of the staff at Madigan. They have done a tremendous job working with their partners from Bremerton, Oak Harbor, and Fairchild, right, to come up with ways to improve this system. This went from like a 20 to 30-some character password with all kinds of special, I mean, it's ridiculous that you had to change every 90 days to like a 4-character password that you do every 6 months. Those are just one example of we're trying to make that system easy, and the reason that came back like that is from surveys and feedback. Make sense? I'm telling you like it is because that's pretty cool. Don't you wish everything worked like that? All right? Let's go to the next slide. And there you got it, right? Follow Madigan, give us some feedback, tell us what you're thinking, and get after some of the problem sets we have out there. There's going to be some information that comes out on any DHA transition changes. We'll make sure that communicates that to the community, but right now we're sitting very pretty. So, any questions? Ma'am.
Okay, on the urgent care clinics, is there any way to identify which ones are open on weekends? Because that's a problem we ran into. You call up the TRICARE advice people, they have no idea. They're not listed as to who's open on weekends.
That should be no problem, right? If you call the nurse advice line, they could also tell you as well.
They don't know.
They don't know?
They don't know. All they can do is tell me, go to this one. I said, I went to that one. It's not open on weekends.
Okay.
Can you tell me which ones are open? She could not.
That's not a problem. We can work that and put that on our site. I got my PAO in the corner over there. He's waving at me. That means he's got it. Ma'am, we'll take care of that. Thank you for your question. Appreciate y'all. Ma'am, over to you. Thank you for the question.
Good morning again, Alicia Grady, Director of Personnel and Family Readiness. Just want to make all of our soldiers aware that AER campaign training is coming up on February 20th from 9 to 11. It will be over in Waller Hall in room 240. So those of you or in your units that have been signed up as your campaign coordinator for your unit, please make sure they attend the training. They will be given all of their campaign material at that time. They walk away with a bag full of all the things that they need to do the AER campaign within the units. We want to advertise this early. We're going to advertise it often between now and May 5th and 6th. This is our annual military spouse hiring event. We partner with Hiring Our Heroes, the military spouse program. They are not coming this year, but that's okay because we've modeled their curriculum, we've modeled their program, and we've created a local hiring event for our spouses. So 5-6 May, 9 to 3 p.m., both days at American Lake Conference Center. There's a lot of workshops, resume writing, LinkedIn. We will be taking professional headshots. So if you've ever attended, your spouses have ever attended our hiring event in previous years, it will mirror what we've done with Hiring Our Heroes. And the event registration is there at the bottom. Volunteer recognition is coming up in April. That's April every year. We do our installation-wide volunteer recognition ceremony, but in order for us to be able to recognize our volunteers, we need you to nominate your volunteers. So nomination for volunteers begins on February 17th and runs through March 16th. All the information can be found online. So please go online, download the nomination form, get that into our volunteer coordinator so that we can get your volunteers recognized at our ceremony in April. And then finally, just want to let everyone be aware that this year is a census year, the 2020 census. There will be census takers coming on JBLM on February 10th. They will be vetted through security. They have to have official credentials and badges. They will be coming door to door to certain houses to do their typical census taking. It's a knock on the door. It's a couple questions. Do you live here? How many people live in the household? They check their sheet off and off they go. So please make your folks aware who live on base that this will be occurring on February 10th. And again, they will have credentials, they'll have badges, and they'll be vetted through security. So please don't be alarmed if somebody comes knocking on your door.
Good morning. My name is Simon Cannon with Sustainable JBLM. And now that we're in the wetter, colder season, I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to you guys about what you can do to help us achieve our energy, air, and water goals for the installation. First, let's talk about energy and keeping our buildings warm. Our temperature thermostats in the buildings are set to specific temperature ranges here on the installation to maximize both your comfort and the energy usage. That being said, it's technology, and technology from time to time breaks. So if you guys notice that your buildings are becoming incredibly cold, or your vents aren't working, or your thermostats aren't working, give us a call. Contact our service desk and let them know so we can come out and take a look at that equipment. On the same side, personal heaters are not allowed here on the installation. They're prohibited because, one, they draw a lot of current and are often placed near combustible items, which could easily catch fire. On top of that, if you are someone or you know someone who likes to sneak those personal heaters into their workspace, place them down underneath their desk, what ends up happening is they'll artificially raise the temperature around their cubicle. And the thermostat registers that. So while they might be nice and cozy and warm, everyone in the building around them is going to freeze because the thermostat isn't kicking on the heat because it thinks it's warmer than it actually is. Go ahead and go to the next slide. And now for our water. Here's how you guys can help us with our water goals. Stormwater, unlike the gray and black water that you produce inside your house, stormwater is that water that, as we can gather from the name, comes from the sky, comes from our storms, runs off our buildings, our cars, runs off our roadways. And unlike that black or gray water, which goes to the wastewater treatment plant for treatment before it's discharged into the environment, stormwater gets little to no treatment before it ends up on the ground or going out of the outfalls into our water bodies and marshes here around the installation. With that in mind, we ask you guys to properly maintain your vehicles. If you notice your car is leaking, get that leak fixed. Use our commercial car washes, which contain the contaminants from your vehicle and the soaps instead of washing your cars in your driveways. Pick up after your pet. How many folks here come from a dry climate? Came from places like Arizona or the National Training Center. There, your pet does his thing out in the environment, not as big a deal. Here, with the amount of rainfall that we see, that pet waste actually melts and ends up running off with the storm water. And the same thing with we want to make sure we put our garbage in the garbage cans and use proper facilities for any of your vehicle maintenance. It's all with that goal of preventing that stormwater contamination, which, as I already mentioned, goes into our water bodies. We have a major outfall that runs right into American Lake. And like I said, it has little to no treatment before it goes there. Go ahead and go to the next slide. And finally, for our air program, we are still looking for folks who want to join our van pool programs. It is a free program available to folks here on the installation. Just give us a call and let us know you're interested in signing up for that program. Does anyone have any questions for me? All right, well, I'll be available after the briefing if you guys have any other specific questions.
Good morning, Beth Wilson. I'm the Chief of the Housing Division and I work for the Directorate of Public Works. Lincoln Military Housing would like me to remind all the families that live on JBLM about their upcoming free resident events. The first one will take place on the 18th of February, and this is Celebration Candles. Then moving on to March, on the 17th, they're going to have string art for your hometown that you live in. It's kind of a fun little event. And then they'll have on the 27th bingo with a dinner. All of these events, again, are free, but they do ask the families to please RSVP so that they have enough space, because space is limited, and they will have enough supplies for all the families. And they ask you to use the website that's shown up here or in the newsletter that you receive on your email to register. Any questions?
Good morning, Kelly Wetzel with MWR. So I hope you have made plans for this month. If you have made plans, great. I hope I can change your plans by showing you some really cool stuff on here. If you don't have plans, you're going to have plans by the time I'm done. So right off at the top, Armed Forces Bowling Championship. That is, this year it will be at Scott Air Force Base. If you are a bowler, you have a bowler in your squadron or unit, this is a competition between all members of the service who are great bowlers. They compete against each other. The Army fields a team, Air Force fields a team. So that's when the Armed Forces Bowling Tournament is. But there's information there if you've got bowlers in your unit or squadron. They can certainly try out to be on the team. Next up, we've got fly fishing coming up. It's going to be fishing season soon. Get some practice in. If you have never tried to fly fish before, it's fun, it's easy, once you've figured out how to do it. So we're going to get folks on board to go and do some fly fishing out at American Lake. And then coming up on Saturday the 15th, so if you've got big Valentine's Day plans, you can do that on Friday. But then, big surprise the next day, come to Wine and Jazz. This we have been doing for a few years. It's a live jazz event with wine tasting and really great food. It's in this room here. It's very popular. You can get your tickets if you just stop by the business office on your way out. You can pick up tickets to the event there and reserve your platter. We have a bunch of different food options for you if you'd like to eat while you're here. And then some of the other things we've got coming up, karaoke and trivia night. Karaoke at Sounders Lanes. We've moved that to Sounders Lanes. We've opened up a brand new Warrior Zone at Sounders Lanes. It's a small facility. We're going to try and get more folks to come into Sounders Lanes. So karaoke is very popular, so we're going to move that program over to Sounders Lanes. The next UFC fight is free at Sam Adams and at the pub here in the McChord Club, and then it's a $5 cover charge over at the Sam Adams Cascade. It's free at the McChord Club in the Warrior Zone. There's Latin night at Sam Adams, and then there's a middle school teen masquerade party coming up. If you've got kids in that age group, ask them if they know about it, and if they don't, tell them about it, and ask them if they'd like to go. Next slide, please. So we've got an update for sports and fitness. The Kimbrough pool, they are still repairing the leaks. Wilson Fitness Center, the 24/7 access is still down, but they're projected to open that later this month. The McChord Fitness Annex, the floor resurfacing was finished early. It was finished before, after I was able to turn the slide in, so they are actually open for business now. They were supposed to be closed until the 13th, but the McChord Fitness Center Annex floors are done, so you can go and work out there now. And then some closures for the McChord Main Fitness Center. Commander's Cup Bowling starts the 20th of this month at Bowl Arena, and then the McVeigh Fitness Center, their racquetball courts will close for floor refinishing middle of March. Just a reminder, I talked about this last time, the MWR Organization and Training Day. We will be closing the majority of our MWR facilities. We will also remain open at the McChord Child Development Centers and all school-age programs because it is a no-school day that day, but we'll be closing the rest of our facilities that day for training and organization. And then the last slide. Just coming up what's in March. We've got a spring sale happening at the Northwest Adventure Center, another UFC fight. The Rising Star, which is a talent competition, will be at Sounders Lanes this year in March. The St. Patty's Day party, and then the Shamrock and Run. You can kind of see it's running together there. The Shamrock and Run 5K and 1K will start and end here at the McChord Club. There will be food involved. They're planning an Irish stew. There will be cold bubbly beverages after your run. So if you're interested, you can sign up now online for that March 15th run, or March 21st run. And we've got a spring flea market coming up. And then coming up in April, Kids Fest. When the kids in the Clover Park School District are off school, we offer something big called Kids Fest that week. That's a free event for children and their parents on base. In the MWR Fest tent, there's also free bowling that day, lots of cool activities for them to do. It's a good parent-child opportunity that day for things to do. And then at the bottom there, coming up towards Easter in April, the Easter Dash the day before Easter, and then Easter brunch here in this building for Easter Sunday. Are there any questions? Great. I hope you all now have plans for the rest of the month and you can look forward to the next two.
Good morning, everyone. Specialist Griggs. I'm currently the interim boss president. I'd like to introduce, I'm sorry, A1C El Sheik. I'm not too familiar with Air Force ranks. She will be the new Air Force representative, replacing Senior Airman Hines. So thank you, Senior Airman Hines, for all your hard work. Covering over what we did last month in January, we had our monthly suits for service members. We had 4 representatives in attendance, and then our the weekends for the designated driver van and Donzas, we were able to help 10 personnel on that. Next slide, please. Also, for our recreational, we did the snowshoeing and snowboarding as well. Sergeant Major Marble was out there with us, teaching us how to do things. He showed us up on the snowshoeing and the snowboarding as well. We attended laser tag, that was fun, along with the Woodland Zoo out in Seattle, along with the Rattlesnake Ridge. Next slide. So for this month, we attended the Chinese New Year on the 1st, so that was last weekend. We did the Suits for Service Member yesterday. If you guys aren't aware of that, service members are allowed 2 suits as a transition out of the military. That's over at the Hawk Career Center. This Saturday, we'll have axe throwing up in Seattle, so we have a lot of people looking forward to that, so that might be a repeated thing. As well as with the Donza, we will have the Olympic curling coming up on the 17th. We are trying out a new nutritional and cooking class. We were looking forward to doing that, a monthly thing, so we will be working with a 92 Golf and a registered dietitian. And then, as usual, we will have our designated driver program every weekend and Donzas. Next slide.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chaplain Dave Schaffner, and this first slide is just a mark your calendar kind of slide. We're going to do Vacation Bible School this year in the month of July, and we'll have 2 locations. Both of them will be that same week, so we'll have a location here on McChord. We'll have a location over on the Fort Lewis side. Don't know what those locations are yet because we have several options, and as we get registrations, we'll move to where we can have the most kiddos. So that's just a mark your calendar, and we will get back to you with more on that later. Next slide. This one's a little interesting and a little confusing. This week is the National Prayer Breakfast on Thursday, and then later on in May, we have the National Day of Prayer. Now, in the military, we tend to do a prayer breakfast on both of those dates, okay? So there are some prayer breakfasts going on all across the post on these this next couple of weeks. Here are the ones that are already scheduled. I've checked with everybody. We do have a couple of tickets left. Most of these have already filled almost to capacity, but there's always room for one more, amen? So, if you're in one of those organizations or you would like to go to their prayer breakfast, please contact either the 7th ID chaplain, the Madigan chaplain, the Garrison prayer brunch. You can come and see me. And then the last note down there is that's when we'll do the big post-wide prayer breakfast. We'll do that in May, on the 7th of May. So just some prayer opportunities and breakfast opportunities available to you over the next couple of months. Any questions for me? Anything I can answer? All right, thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eddie Oyakilome, and I am here to talk about DECA. You know, we are the Defense Commissary Agency, and we provide food for everybody. I'm happy to be here to talk about it because, you know, this is the first time I'm doing it, and I get to see all these faces, and I'm like, you guys are all breathtaking, so that's good. All right, so here we're going to talk about first the scholarship that we are offering. It's going to expire, it's going to be done by February 24th, 2020. So we're saying get on it. We for 500 people, kids, for 500 kids, $2,000 each. Please sign up so you can get it. Any amount helps when it comes to school. All you have to do is like you apply for it, you write like an essay, you get chosen, and you get it. So that will be very, very helpful for the military kids. Please go online and sign up. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the lovely month of February. It's a great month. It's, Valentine's, everybody's love in the air, everybody's, having fun. So we have food, When people eat together, everybody feels good, everybody's enjoying themselves, it lightens the mood. We have chocolates, we have everything that you need. Just come over, shop, be happy, cook food, eat, enjoy with the family. So we have, everything is, we sell, it's cheaper than most places. I know some people want to go out and buy, but we're here for you. We're here to serve you because you guys are great. So come to the commissary and shop in the lovely month of February where you can all enjoy and have fun there. Okay. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Tommy. I'm the Sales and Merchandise Manager for the McChord main store. I'm here to talk about a few events we have with the exchanges from both Lewis and McChord. For the month of February, we do have all of our Valentine's Day items on sale. Make sure to stop by one of the stores, pick up some of the chocolate hearts. We got chocolate roses. We will be getting flowers in at our Petals and Blooms. Also check our flyers. We do have coupons in all of our flyers every week. We've got, if you use your military star card at Petals and Bloom, you can save $10, or when you get your nails done or hair at any of our concession facilities. And we also got 25% off our Perfect Gifts for Him. And the 14th through the 20th of February, we do have our big Samsung appliance event where all of our Samsungs will be up to $1,000 off depending on the items. All of our facilities do have the items in stock, or they are available on shopmyexchange.com. This Saturday, we do have our Beyblade event at both McChord and Lewis from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Also in all the facilities, you can, if you purchase $30 of Procter & Gamble products, that'll be our paper towels, toilet paper, laundry soaps, Gillette razors, NyQuil, if anybody's getting sick and needs NyQuil. If you purchase $30, you can get a $10 exchange gift card. Our H&R block is open in both facilities. Right now, they are appointment only. They only have one person in both facilities. And that's all I've got today.
Hello, my name is Doug Taylor. 15 years ago, my sister was a Chinook pilot in Afghanistan with the unit Big Windy out of Germany. Another team in her unit crashed, and it was known as Windy 2-5, and no one survived in the crash. For the last decade, my sister and other unit veterans have been organizing a memorial run in Las Vegas. I couldn't be there, so I set up a shadow run here happening at the same time. This is, shadow run is hosted by myself. I'm not associated with any unit, and along with my friend Major Solano. So I'm just putting a plug out there. If you could come support my sister, support this run. No need to register, no need to do anything, but if you do want to come, we do ask you email on there for an RSVP. So this is just a request from a brother who was lucky enough to have his sister come home. This is a run to honor those lost and support surviving family members. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. I'm Lori Ryan. I am stepping in for a few people today for the Lewis Community Spouses Club. I have notes. I do not know what I'm talking about, so I will use these. The first thing, this is full disclosure here. The first thing is the February luncheon is right here at McChord Club. It's a game night. It's not a luncheon. It's an evening event. It's game night in your PJs, so you can come in your PJs. It's 13 February from 5 to 8 p.m. The second and I would say most important thing that I have to talk about is ACE Night. It's the annual charity event. I am on the board for that event, and it's a great event. I've done it we lived here a couple years ago, and I did it then. It's a fabulous event. It's the biggest event Lewis Community Spouses Club has, and all the proceeds that we receive go directly to grants and scholarships. We are looking for units to donate baskets. I have a list of those who have not donated or committed baskets. If you want to know if your unit is on there, I do have that available. It is, I will tell you from when we were here before, it is a total competition. If somebody tells you it's not, they're lying. And there are bragging rights that go forward for years. I can tell you that 16th Cab may or may not have won that a few years back. So now my husband belongs to First Corps, so I'm just saying. So I have, but the information is, I have a few flyers. The information is on lewiscommunityspousesclub.com. And you can get tickets. It is an 18-plus event. And it's Friday, 13 March from 6 to 10 p.m. Tell your civilian friends as well, because it's not on installation this year. So they can get to it. It's at the McGavick Center in Lakewood. And you can see the list of stuff that they supported in recent years. They earned over $35,000 last year. I know it was a little bit more the year previous, and they're hoping to double that this year. So if you can come out and support it, it is a really, really good, fun time. You can dress up in the circus theme or just evening attire. Speaking of benefits, the Fort Lewis Family Member Scholarship Fund is live. The application is live. Deadline for that is 16 March. It's fortlewisScholarship.com. I know there's a 50-mile radius from the center of JBLM, and it is available to children and spouses of active duty service members. You can go on and see the eligibility stuff on fortlewisScholarship.com. But it is a scholarship that does not always get utilized enough. So please send your family members there. And if there are any questions, I'm not sure about like Active Guard Reserve. I was actually just online trying to look and see. But you can always go online and see what the eligibility requirements are, and email the scholarship chairperson if you need to get more details on that. Okay? Thank you very much.
Perfectly well done, Lori. Thank you. Good job. You were nervous about it, but you did great. And that is open to Air Force personnel as well. I know you've mentioned that in the past. Air Force active duty, right? Go ahead.
All active duty.
Yep, exactly.
I don't make that distinction.
Yeah, exactly. I know. And the only reason I wanted to clarify is because the website is Fort Lewis. What was it again? Fort Lewis Scholars. Yeah, but I just wanted to clarify because they've been very clear in the past. It is open to everybody. It's just that it's taking time to get the websites changed over and the names changed over, legality stuff. But it is open to all active duty. Hey, I'm gonna foot stomp a couple things. I like to kind of hit a couple things and re-emphasize the good information you've heard here. While I'm doing that, can you bring up Colonel Bunt's first slide that he brought up from the hospital, his hospital brief? Hey, he briefed herd immunity. That's a term I love to hear. And the CSM reminded me Washington State is often in the headlines because for low herd immunity. But I think here on JBLM we have quite high statistics, and I think Washington State has recently changed some of its rules for how they give vaccinations and all that kind of thing. So whether you're a vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer, I know that's a thing too. I can guarantee you Madigan and all of the outside clinics do a superb job of offering vaccinations to all family members. I just wanted to point this out. The coronavirus does not take down aircraft. '62nd and 446th are amazing pilots. Even if the coronavirus comes in from the atmosphere, they will bring that plane safely down. It will not. I also want to foot stomp what he mentioned about MHS Genesis. I personally have used that just in the past few days for appointments. And that system is amazing. And he didn't emphasize it enough. That comes from Madigan specifically. Over the past 2 years of heartache and pain and work, that's now a global DoD system because it started and was improved from here. So, as he said, keep your feedback coming. I'll also foot stomp the mass transit benefit. That is something that started in Washington, D.C. because of the crowding and the lack of HOV lanes and all that kind of stuff. It's available nationwide, so please use that. Please vanpool. I-5 is just about as bad as I-95. So please use that if you live in the outlying area and want a vanpool. That thing is $265. And a much easier, more peaceful way to get to work. You can read the paper on your way in and out of work, assuming you're not driving. If you're driving, don't read the paper. I want to thank MWR for all the outstanding activities you've got planned throughout the month. Thank you for the great update. And boss. You guys are the best boss team I've seen in my military career, and I just want to please help me in recognizing the senior airmen and sergeant who are moving on, and the continued work that the boss team does for all of our service members, airmen and soldiers. Please help me in giving them a round of applause. Thank you, guys. Command Sergeant Major Marble loves working with you guys, and you guys do an amazing job. Thank you very much. Okay, I want to open it up for any questions, and then I'll pass it off to General Graham and Colonel Stainpine for any closing comments. Yes, please. Does she? I'm just going to bring you the mic. I'm joking.
No.
He'll turn it on. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Is it on now?
Yep.
Okay, so the only reason I actually have something else to say is because Kathy corrected me via text and said, it's not, but she's a pansy and won't stand up and correct me out loud.
It's not because of that.
Okay, so the correction is it's lewiscommunityspousesclub.org, not lewiscommunityspousesclub.com.
Oh, got it.
So
good point.
Thank you, Kathy.
That's how you get members. Hey, I love that. We are redoing, I've mentioned this before, we are relooking all of our social media presence and internet presences to make sure it's all more efficient and more informational. So that's a good catch, good update. Way to dime her out, good job. I need you on our soft team as well, soft teams here as well. We're gonna open up assessments. Can you guys open up assessments to them? Okay, all right. Any other questions or dime outs? Sir, anything? I'm just joking. You guys are awesome. Ma'am, anything? Okay. Anything else, Alicia? All right, we'll see you next month. Thank you.